Welcome to the CompTIA A+ Prepcast presented by baremetalcyber.com. The IEEE 802.11 family of wireless networking standards defines the protocols used in nearly all Wi-Fi communication. Each revision in this standard, designated by a letter or combination of letters after 802.11, represents a new generation of capabilities offering improvements in speed, range, efficiency, or spectral use. These standards evolved to accommodate increasing demand for wireless connectivity in homes, offices, and public spaces. The CompTIA A+ Core 1 exam requires familiarity with the major 802.11 standards and their characteristics, including performance, frequency bands, and compatibility. The 802.11 standard was one of the first to be released after the original 802.11 baseline. It operates solely in the 5 GHz frequency band and provides data rates up to 54 megabits per second. This standard was less prone to interference because the 5 GHz band was relatively unused at the time. However, its range was more limited compared to other standards due to the higher frequency and lower signal penetration through walls. 802.11 saw limited consumer adoption early on, but it laid groundwork for future 5 GHz standards. By contrast, 802.11b operates in the 2.4 GHz band and supports speeds up to 11 megabits per second. It offered greater range than 802.11a, particularly in indoor environments, but it was far more susceptible to interference. Many household electronics, including microwaves, cordless phones, and Bluetooth devices, operate in the same frequency space, leading to signal degradation. Despite its slower speeds, 802.11b became the dominant standard in early consumer Wi-Fi networks due to its longer range and affordability. Following the 802.11b release, 802.11 grams emerged to combine the range of 2.4 GHz networking with the speed improvements of 802.11a. Like 802.11a, it offered speeds up to 54 megabits per second, but operated in the more universally compatible 2.4 GHz band. It was backward compatible with 802.11b, allowing older devices to connect to newer networks. Because of this, 802.11 grams gained rapid adoption in homes and businesses and became the standard for many early Wi-Fi installations in the mid-2000s. The introduction of 802.11n, also known as Wi-Fi 4, marked a major leap in wireless networking. It was the first standard to support operation on both 2.4 and 5 GHz bands, earning it the label of a dual-band technology. A key advancement in 802.11n was the use of multiple input, multiple output known as MIMO antenna technology. MIMO allows multiple data streams to be transmitted and received simultaneously, increasing both speed and reliability. The maximum theoretical throughput of 802.11n is up to 600 megabits per second under ideal conditions. 802.11ac, also referred to as Wi-Fi 5, pushed wireless networking into the gigabit age. Operating exclusively in the 5 GHz band, 802.11ac introduced wider channel widths up to 160 MHz and beamforming, which enables the wireless signal to be directed more efficiently toward the client. These advancements result in faster connections and better performance in environments with multiple users. Real-world implementations of 802.11ac often exceed 1 gigabit per second, depending on the number of streams and channel width used. 802.11ax, more commonly known as Wi-Fi 6, is the latest major standard supported in consumer and enterprise environments. It supports both 2.4 and 5 GHz bands and introduces several efficiency improvements that help manage performance in crowded networks. One of the key technologies behind Wi-Fi 6 is orthogonal frequency division multiple access, OFDMA, which divides a channel into smaller subcarriers to allow simultaneous communication with multiple devices. This makes Wi-Fi 6 ideal for high-density environments like offices, airports, and stadiums. Wi-Fi 6 also introduces real-world enhancements that go beyond just speed. One example is Target Wake Time, TWT, a feature that improves battery life for mobile and IoT devices by letting them sleep longer between transmissions. Wi-Fi 6 also performs better in crowded areas by reducing contention between devices, which leads to more stable and faster connections even when dozens of devices are online. It is backward compatible with older Wi-Fi standards, ensuring a smooth upgrade path in mixed device networks. Wi-Fi 6E builds upon Wi-Fi 6 by adding support for the newly opened 6 GHz frequency band. This band provides additional channels that are not used by older Wi-Fi generations, reducing congestion and interference. Wi-Fi 6E enables faster speeds, lower latency, and better reliability in networks that support the new spectrum. However, to take advantage of Wi-Fi 6E, both the access point and client device must support the 6 GHz band. Additionally, support for Wi-Fi 6E may require updated operating systems and drivers. Each Wi-Fi standard supports a maximum theoretical speed and operates in specific frequency bands. Both 802.11a and 802.11 grams offer up to 54 megabits per SECOND, 802.11a using 5 GHz and 802.11 grams using 2.4 GHz. 802.11n or Wi-Fi 4 supports speeds up to 600 megabits per second and is dual-band. 802.11ac or Wi-Fi 5 can exceed 1 gigabit per second and uses only the 5 GHz band. Finally, 802.11x, known as Wi-Fi 6, supports multi-gigabit speeds across both the 2.4 and 5 GHz bands, with Wi-Fi 6E extending to the 6 GHz spectrum for even more bandwidth. Device compatibility across Wi-Fi standards is an important topic for both users and technicians. Most modern routers support multiple standards simultaneously to maintain backward compatibility. For example, a dual-band router may broadcast 802.11n on 2.4 GHz and 802.11ac on 5 GHz. Older devices that only support 802.11b or 802.11 grams may still connect to these networks, though they will do so at lower speeds. Backward compatibility allows networks to support mixed devices but can reduce overall performance if slower clients occupy bandwidth. To determine which Wi-Fi standards are supported by a device, users can inspect network adapter specifications, device manager entries, or manufacturer documentation. Routers typically list supported standards on their packaging or configuration interface. Operating systems also provide tools to inspect active wireless connections. For example, in Windows, the netsh WLAN show interfaces command can display connection details such as the current protocol in use. This helps diagnose performance issues related to hardware limitations or network configuration. Wireless access points can be configured to allow or restrict access to certain Wi-Fi standards. For example, an administrator may disable legacy standards like 802.11b to reduce network congestion. In dual-band configurations, access points may broadcast separate SSIDs for each band or use a unified SSID with band steering. These configuration choices directly affect compatibility and performance, particularly in environments with a mix of old and new devices. Knowing how to manage AP settings is a critical task in Wi-Fi deployment. Modulation techniques define how data is encoded onto a carrier frequency. Direct Sequence Spread Spectrum, or DSSS, was used in early Wi-Fi standards like 802.11b. More modern standards such as 802.11a, N, AC, and AX use orthogonal frequency division multiplexing, or OFDM. OFDM splits a signal into multiple subcarriers, allowing more efficient use of bandwidth and improved resistance to interference. CompT may test your understanding of which modulation types are associated with which Wi-Fi standards. Beamforming is another innovation introduced in newer Wi-Fi protocols. Instead of broadcasting signal equally in all directions, beamforming technology focuses the wireless signal toward a connected client. This improves range, signal strength, and overall reliability. Beamforming was optional in Wi-Fi 5 but became a standard feature in Wi-Fi 6, where it helps optimize performance in multi-device environments. Understanding how beamforming improves efficiency is essential when comparing modern access point features. Multi-user MIMO, or MU-MIMO, allows wireless routers to communicate with multiple devices at once rather than sequentially. Introduced in Wi-Fi 5 and enhanced in Wi-Fi 6, MU-MIMO reduces latency and increases efficiency, particularly in high-density networks. Traditional single-user MIMO systems transmit to one device at a time, creating a queue that slows performance. MU-MIMO shortens this queue by handling multiple streams concurrently, which is particularly beneficial in offices or homes with many users. Channel width also affects wireless performance. Older standards such as 802.11b and G typically used 20 MHz channels. 802.11n introduced 40 MHz channels, while 802.11 AC and AX can use 80 or even 160 MHz wide channels. Wider channels support more bandwidth, which increases throughput, but they also increase the risk of interference and may limit the number of available non-overlapping channels. Administrators must choose channel widths that balance speed and reliability based on the network environment. To simplify communication with non-technical users, the Wi-Fi Alliance adopted a numeric naming convention for Wi-Fi standards. This includes Wi-Fi 4 for 802.11n, Wi-Fi 5 for 802.11ac, and Wi-Fi 6 for 802.11ax. This system helps consumers understand router capabilities without needing to memorize technical specifications. However, exam questions may refer to either naming system, so candidates must be fluent in both. Recognizing these naming conventions aids in identifying device compatibility and selecting appropriate networking gear. In summary, the 802.11 Wi-Fi standards have evolved significantly, each bringing improvements in speed, range, efficiency, and support for modern applications. From the early days of 802.11b to the high-performance capabilities of Wi-Fi 6 and 6E, wireless networking continues to adapt to growing demand. On the A+ exam, you'll be expected to identify these standards by characteristics such as frequency, speed, and supported features. Mastery of these distinctions is essential for planning, deploying, and troubleshooting wireless networks across all environments. Thank you for listening. Please visit baremetalcyber.com for more cybersecurity information, podcasts, books, and more.